I think sometime
Oh,
soon I'm
you
gonna.
missed the net.
I didn't. What net?
You goaltended.
I goaltended.
Yeah, you cut it off before it went in.
What?
Yep. A
Uh-oh.
rare miss.
Oh,
I literally
Underneath
don't
the free throw
understand.
line. You're a
I,
rare. It was a rare miss.
we're gonna have to roll back the tape. I was just gonna comment. I feel like I should miss sometime soon because I haven't missed in a long time, and apparently I'm getting called out. I wasn't ready for this.
Maybe
I
it was
was.
my sound was bad, but I heard no swish.
can I?
Michael, what say you?
Um, I wasn't paying attention, so I can't
Perfect.
comment. And can I derail things really quickly to say we should do a live watch along to the John Tesh live at Red Rock Roundball Rock music video where he actually is like going through this because it is a spectacular video.
I
I
support
am
this
completely unaware of what
100%.
you're referencing.
Okay,
I know what you're talking about, and I'm in.
okay. It's amazing. That's what I was thinking about while the song was playing. I missed this one.
You did. Your dancing was very pensive.
Yeah. I was like, because I was lost in thought. I'm ready though. I'll
Awesome.
dance at the end maybe.
I'll dance at the end, maybe. That should be an end of season special. We watch this. As we are now in week was it 12, 13? I don't know. Past mid-season. We were long overdue for an update from our illustrious friend of the show, Mr. Michael here. Talk about the Magic. Nat can also complain about the Blazers. Got an action-packed
That's a
show
weekly
tonight.
feature.
That is the weekly feature. Uh, uh, Michael, so you are in an interesting place. You are one of the illustrious many right now in the league that are frolicking along in sort of the middle of the pack because we have the unfortunate state of Joe being top and kind of running away with it right now in the midseason. And then
Makes the whole league worse off when that happens.
thank you for confirming this. He does get mad as our primary fan, a number one fan that we do drag him.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear from somebody else. But you were along in this, and unfortunately down at the bottom because I think you lost this week. But you are third in the roto, so like maybe some aggrievement from your end of the. So how you feeling about the season so far?
I'm fine with it because if you go back to the standings, right? Like I'm like what, a game out of second place, or yeah,
Yes.
a game, right? So like, right now it's fine. My team is good. It's not great. And really, I'm just happy that I have both Paolo and Franz on it. Um, so
Jokic, whatever.
and
Yeah, irrelevant.
He's fine.
and my favorite basketball player, Marco Fultz, who is looking spectacular these days. By the way, sneak preview of what I'll be talking about in my next segment.
I
I
feel,
you go.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think I'm not as excited about my team this year, but I like that the league has so much parity, and so like I feel like I'm good enough to compete, and like you get lucky in the playoffs, right? And Joe's never good in the playoffs anyway, and so just shouldn't be a problem. So I'm looking forward to the playoffs with some confidence. Having Jokic means like you're never out of a week, like ever, which is like a spectacular feeling to have in fantasy basketball. You're like, oh no, like because I had a couple weeks, you have injuries and you're like, well, fuck, I'm like starting, Trey Murphy the third before Brandon Ingram went out, and you're like, not so great. But having Jokic always makes me happy. I do. It bothers me that Franz and Paulo, like their average ranking, Yahoo ranking, is like lower than it would be based off of their counting stats. I think because they get punished off of a field goal percentage. Like you can see, like
Turnovers.
yeah, I guess. Yeah. So it's like, it's because you're weighting every category equally is the problem, at least with their average ranking score, and like not by like accounting for the variance in each category. And so like that is
No, incorrect. I did the math on this.
okay.
It is an it is a it is a it is a it is sum of the standard deviations of the
Okay.
stat category and
Okay.
then ranked.
Oh, okay.
I
Well, so all right, then I retract my criticism. Then I will actually have to dig into the raw numbers because I'm curious exactly like how much they're being impacted by various things. Because um
let's
just naively you expect them to be ranked a lot higher based off of how they're playing, but uh
so for yeah, it isn't well
113 to 130, right?
yeah, 113 to 70, and then where's
He's right
Bancaro? Right
underneath
there,
that.
131. Well, Bancaro's even right now. Bancaro,
But
he's
Right, but it's they're still accounting for yeah, like I guess I'm just wondering like why like yeah, I don't know. I guess I just want to
He's
dig
not
into why that
particularly
happens.
efficient in a
A
lot of
sub
ways.
it is actually interesting how precipitous the fall in ranking is if your field goal percentage drops under 40%. Like it's
Yeah.
real bad, real fast in the rankings because that, especially at a high volume, which I think they both are. So yeah, it is field goal percentage once you drop below a threshold, like you fall real fast down the line. But his free throws also aren't so great, maybe.
Free throws are also not so great, which is a problem. Because I mean, it's awesome that he gets to the line as much as he does. Like he's like top 5, top 10 in the league, which is amazing for a rookie. But yeah, he could definitely work a little bit on his free throw percentage for sure.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's actually probably what's killed him. 75% free throw is probably actually the bigger contribution than the 44%.
44% from the field, 75 from the line, turning the ball over, not getting a ton of defensive stats. It makes sense. Like their scoring, rebounding, assists are good, but then everything else is not quite there.
No, I guess that's
Not
fair.
for an elite guy, but for like a good guy.
Shots fired.
I mean,
We
from a
also did,
fantasy perspective. Obviously, in real life, he's definitely going to be elite very quickly.
Yeah.
yeah, a
Well, he already is, but even like
4-3 assist to turnover ratio is not great as we have deep dive in the
not
past. So
ideal. I'm very happy to chalk that up to him being a rookie in the league and being okay with it. Because I love his passing. And I don't mind him. And he's like our primary ball handler, so he handles the ball a lot. So you'd expect more turnovers.
yeah,
Um,
and I think given you have Jokic, who like it's not a bad strategy for yourself to punt on the turnovers and go for the counting stats.
Well, and Dame too. Jokic
Yeah.
and Dame and Edwards are just turnover machine. They're all turnover guys because they just
yeah,
have
it's
so much.
I have categories as we all do that I'm good at and categories that I don't care about.
Yep.
Turnovers is fine. I have
You and
sacrificed.
I feel like are kind of inverse. Like I've punted a lot of the categories I think you're really good at. And I think you maybe have punted some of the ones I'm decent at.
Yep. Well,
Mm.
I perhaps we can settle this in the finals, Nathaniel, and see what happens.
On our way.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like my team's has something to say about that. Although
Do
uh,
you? Because last week you were just like a mope sack.
I
Like
was
you
a
were
mope
just
sack.
yeah,
It's indicative of my team's Dr. Jekyll and
you're
Mr.
so
Hyde.
fickle.
I am fickle. No, and I'll show you why. Because like up and down, my team is killing me. I'll go week to week where like every big man on my team had double doubles every game and like massive stocks, and then the week before like nobody did anything. I'm a little worried long term, but when I have a good week, I have a good week. It's really annoying. I don't know. That's fantasy, I guess.
It's almost like you have a slightly above average team, which is
Uh
what we've been saying for weeks now.
fine. Michael, I do appreciate I want to go back to you mentioned parody.
Yeah.
I like this. I like that you call it parody. Tell me why you like fantasy league parody. I want to hear a take on it.
Uh, well, I guess there are a few reasons. Like it makes the league just like more exciting. I think when things are close and like people are invested. So like leagues where you have a dominant team are not always enjoyable because people kind of give up. Although the fact that we have playoffs kind of mitigates that somewhat. It's not like a regular season record. But then also like it kind of encourages people to stay engaged, which is great. Like you want you never want dead teams in the league. And if you kind of fall out of the race early, that can kind of it sucks some. And then in general, it's just like I don't know, like we've had this league, right? We've had seasons, right, where we don't have this parity, right? And it's just like, well, yeah, I don't know. It's just more fun that so many people have a shot at the championship. Because like we're playing this for fun, right? And it's we all want to be entertained, and the more folks who have a legitimate shot to kind of win it all at the end is good. And so I'm with it.
Yeah, and there's only a 2.5 game or well 3 game difference between second and 11th.
Yeah, which is like
So what
yeah.
your top guy goes out for a month and there you go.
Yeah, if I
It's
lose Jokic,
very I like it because it's very similar to the real NBA right now, where everyone's kind of jumbled up in the middle. and there's like one or two really good teams, but everyone else is just kind of hovering a game or two above or below 500 and waiting for somebody to stand out.
Love it.
I'm not dead yet.
Not dead yet. Yeah, you're storming back. I feel like as we've discussed in the past past week, because we were gone forever. But yeah, your healthy Triple J has made you come back. Although you got Amy this week.
I also have like a massive schedule disadvantage this week.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Let's
so
see.
I'm probably not gonna do super well.
Not.
I have no Duran, no Bull.
Ooh, 8 games is a lot.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That's
and it was more at the start, but it's different because a couple of her guys had missed. It was I think it was 37-29 was that's still 8 games. But Bull was sick. Duran is hurt, so there goes two big guys for me. And so I'm just kind of cobbling it together for this week.
Double Bull is supposed to be back tonight, Nathaniel. So
he is back tonight, but I didn't play him this week because I didn't know where he was going to be in the lineup.
Christopher, I don't know how many Bulls players you have, but I think next week the Bulls only have 1 game.
I have 0. I have 0 Bulls players because the Bulls are bad.
It's true.
It makes me sad on a personal level. But yeah,
it makes me happy on a personal level because we had your draft pick this year.
That'd be good for you.
That might be the one that pays now because they are broke. I mean, they're only slightly better than the Magic.
Yep.
You got more lottery picks. I think they'll be in the lottery. They're not recovering, and Lonzo is not even running yet. I don't know if anybody saw that news. He's not even running. It's January.
Yeah. Starting to look kind of Brandon Roy-esque with him.
When did he get hurt? I don't remember when he got hurt.
He's had multiple knee surgeries in his high school and college life before all of this. Again, very Brandon Roy-esque, where
super sucks.
It is a really good player who may be getting his career warped by an injury that doesn't seem that like that was what happened to Roy. He tore a meniscus, came back too early, and was just basically never the same again. And had a bunch of surgeries after that and was kind of a shell of himself.
Why don't we take this opportunity to dive into real life basketball, Mikey? How are you feeling? So you've already sort of pitched you are aggrieved that Wagner and Bankauer are not represented in the stats as much as your desires.
What other injustices do you want me to discuss?
Yeah,
the world is against you.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Magic so far this season?
This is the happiest I have been about the Magic since the beginning of our friendship.
Ooh, that's a long time. We're on 12 years, Mike. That's a long time. 13.
We
so
met,
basically since 2009.
Yeah. I mean, so we met, in the Dwight, like in 2009, we had Dwight Howard, right? We made the finals. And obviously, like we have a great team, and that's wonderful. This is the happiest I've been ever since then, ever since Dwight left, essentially. We've been on our treadmill of mostly shit and then sometimes mediocrity. And that I've kept the faith, for 12 years. Every year, I'm like, it's fine. Let's just tank again. And every year we would always miss out. We were always 1 draft pick away. I think we had this conversation last year, right? Where we were always like, like we had like the 5th pick when it was a 4-player draft or the 3rd pick when it was a 2-player draft. And so what we have right now is a guy who looks like a fucking superstar. A really good, I guess number 2, number 3, in Wagner. A point guard who's finally coming around, looks pretty solid in Fultz, and then just a bunch of other promising young guys like Suggs and Bol and Cole Anthony is probably not going to end up being somebody we talk about all that much, but that's okay.
He'd be a fine, bench spark plug.
He's fine as a bench spark plug. For sure. Isaac, breaking news, Jonathan Isaac will be playing in a G League game tomorrow. His first professional basketball in 2.5 years, which is like,
wow.
That's a lottery ticket.
Not a place that has a vaccine mandate, is it?
Oh, I had to sneak it in.
No, it's fine. None of us
Had to. I'm sorry.
Of Isaac the person. but Isaac, the basketball player, I'm happy to hope that he does well. But so what we have is a bunch of young talent, all of our draft picks, a couple extra draft picks, no bad contracts. Like all the contracts are great. Like, so we're in like a perfect position, right? Like, we can make a trade for player, we can end up signing, free agent this year or next year. We may end up getting another high lottery pick this year, which would be great. That's my preferred plan of attack, just getting one more crack at it. I mean, obviously, Wemby or Scoot would be amazing, but if not, just getting one more guy, hopefully a shooter. We definitely need shooting and rebounding, or at least just teaching people how to box out. I was watching the Kings game yesterday, and apparently no one on the Magic remembered how to box out, which was unfortunate. The Kings also made like 23 3-pointers, which was kind of stupid, but
Sabonis is also good at boxing out, like very good.
But yes, but I was talking about like they got so many offensive rebounds just because we were sucking at it. But neither here nor there. I am genuinely optimistic about the Magic because we have the hardest thing to get in basketball, right? Which is like, the guy who, the superstar, right? And he's in his first year. And once you have the first, not always, right? But because it becomes a lot easier, right? To get the second, right? Which is what we're after. And so,
well, as a longtime Blazer fan, I can tell you, getting very hard.
Wrong audience.
Yes, Nathaniel, understood. And all I'm saying is our probability went from, maybe 1% to now what, like 33%, right? Or 40%. I don't know, right? Like whatever the odds are, right? Like what we got the hardest thing to get. And so now it makes it a lot easier to get the number 2 again through free agency or a trade, right? Or, like in the lottery.
Drafting well.
Or we do this multiple times, right? And, get 2 or 3. So
I'll stop you there. I have to ask this question. So like obviously you can like play the game and maybe get the lottery and maybe get one of those 2 guys, but like you're a man of probabilities.
Sure.
You know the math.
Yeah,
So like with the team you have now, like not just fancy, like what is there like one piece, like could they go get one piece with their pick or with Chicago's pick and like make this team what you want without having to worry about the lottery? Like, does that exist? Would you make it happen?
Okay, so our front court is basically set at the moment, right? Like Paolo and Franz, are 10-year keepers for sure.
I love Wendell Carter also.
I'm getting to what. So Wendell is great. Like he's great. He's like an awesome, he's an awesome center, right? He plays defense, protects the rim, can shoot the 3, stretch the 4 a little bit,
passes it.
Talented passing, right? So he's great, right? So like our front court is set, but obviously if we got Wemby, right, then Wendell goes to the bench, or Wendell likely gets traded.
Or they just play 4 bigs.
Or we play 4 bigs, which is, I love our giant lineup, 3rd largest lineup in NBA history, in the beginning of the season. So like our front court is basically set. The back court, right, is in flux, and we as a team need more shooting, right? Because neither Paolo or Franz, our 2 kind of centerpieces, are great 3-point shooters. So, I mean, they could get better, right? And maybe they are. We definitely need shooting. And, so like if, for example, so like I'd be happy with like Fultz, Paolo, Franz, and Wendell playing the 1, 3, 4, 5. And then, if Suggs can become, I mean, Suggs' defense is amazing. His offense, he had a horrible shooting season last year, like one of the worst in league history. He's a lot better this year. But what we need is a knockdown shooter, right? So if we had a 2 guard, who could handle the ball a little bit, was, if we could have like Klay Thompson 8 years ago, if that player exists, like in the NBA at some point.
What if you traded back Chicago's pick for Zach LaVine? That would be an amazing trade.
Well, that's kind of similar to how there's lots of smoke around the Lakers trying to go get Kuzma.
Yeah. So Christopher, that would actually work very well. That would be fine. But it doesn't need to happen this year. Like again, like next year everyone's going to be a year better, right? Paolo in year 2, Franz in year 3. Fultz another year removed from all his injury stuff. And so and whatever whatever the rookies can contribute if we get them. So like I'm just happy playing the young guys as much as we can this year and getting one more crack at the lottery. And then yes, like our biggest hole at the moment is likely like just a dead eye 2 guard. Right. If there's a dead eye 2 guard who can just, actually we have ball handlers. He doesn't even handle the ball. He can just camp out on the 3-point line and be a threat. And every time like Paolo, so stat for you guys, The Orlando Magic, I believe, are the only team in the league to have 3 players with like at least, I don't know, like making like 9 drives per game or 11 drives per game. It's some random like, cherry pick stat. But it was like, like Franz, Paolo, and Markel are always driving to the hoop and are great at it. But if they could do that and have a threat of a guy, a dead eye shooter on the perimeter, I mean, that, it opens up so much more space. And like, that just, I am curious to see how good our offense could be if that is the case, because Markel is a genuine point guard who like fucking like drives and kicks and runs the offense and finds people and is fucking awesome at it. But we lack the shooting to like kind of truly unlock spacing in the modern NBA and scoring in the modern NBA.
And that's why I'm interested with the lottery this year, because like obviously like they're interesting generational talents, but like doesn't seem like what you need for the team. So you'd still have to go get the piece that you need, even if you got those guys. And so I'm curious, like, is this a case where you just should go, like you could almost start winning now, it seems like, if you actually filled the hole you need.
Here's a question for you, Mikey.
Yes.
How big is Fultz? Is he big enough to play the 2?
He is 6. He's at least 6'4". He might be 6'5". I guess we can check.
Because if you could play him at the 2, my ideal ad for Orlando would be a certain Fred VanVleet.
6'3".
Yeah. So last year's Fred VanVleet, I'd be into. This year's Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, this year's Fred VanVleet. He might be washed. He might be washed.
He's not very old though.
Yeah. So
still might be washed.
we definitely have played like Fultz and like Cole Anthony at the same time. Like we played Fultz and Suggs at the same time, right? I mean, Suggs is probably playing the 2 in that case. Fultz he doesn't have enough games to qualify. He's like top 5 in steals per game, I believe. And so like I mean, it's not always a proxy for good defense, but like his defense is pretty good, right? So, and he has long arms, so he definitely can cover. He's quick too. He definitely could cover the 2. So, but at the moment, yeah, once again, to beat a dead horse, we need the knockdown shooter. However we get them, but then the team gets very interesting.
Who is your dream ad of current people?
Victor Wembanyama.
Yes, of current people.
But like
of people you could actively go get without any stroke of luck.
Shy, SGA.
All right.
I
like that.
I'd love to have like Shy and Fultz in the backcourt.
I'm very curious to see what OKC does with him. They just extended him last year, so they have him for a long time. They're only a couple. I mean, I feel like them and Orlando are kind of a similar boat where they're both getting too good to tank and have both kind of picked up their number 1 guy. And once you pick up your number 1 guy, your clock starts ticking because you can't, especially with Paolo on a rookie deal, like you can't waste his rookie contract. You need to go spend a bunch of money to put good.
This is the NFL argument.
Yeah, exactly. It's a quarterback on a rookie contract, basically. Yeah. And like if you have the opportunity to take that leap, when you have your best player for cheap, it's definitely something to look at.
Yep.
Maybe one Anthony Simons could fix this problem.
Anthony Simons,
you can have him.
I know you want Wembanyama, but like that, I feel like that makes it's gonna make that team weird because like he's gonna want the ball, Banchero's gonna want the ball, Fultz gonna I don't feel like that's actually good. I mean, like he's obviously like a generational talent, but I feel like you'd have to dump a lot of people to make that team actually work in a weird way.
I think you just need really good coaching. I think it could work. People that big and that long and that good will work if you can put them in the right places to succeed.
Yeah, that sounds like the problem that I would love to have, so I can solve it. I'm not disputing it, Christopher. Team construction obviously matters, but in terms of like, if our number 1 is Paolo and our number 2 is Franz, and then all of a sudden, our number 1 is Wembanyama and our number 2 is Paolo. I mean, okay, then then we reconfigure the team around that and figure out what makes sense.
What about Malik Beasley?
Clearly, Buddy Hield is the answer, who's leading the league in threes and
they're
shooting
not,
at 43%.
Trading anybody at this point. They're 6th in the East. They're not trading anybody.
He's shockingly good.
Beasley, maybe. I mean, Beasley could be interesting. Hield, but Buddy is who I was was probably my number 2 as like a just I mean like a guy we could get presumably cheaply, although yeah, I guess they have to want to trade him, but
Beasley seems like he's available. He like if Utah's kind of falling down the standings a little bit. I could see them making a move and offloading him. He's worth a pick. Like he's one of I read a stat the other day and he's like the most makes and attempts. I can't remember how it goes, but it's like a stat that basically puts it with Clay, Steph, Dame, and him.
yeah.
Like those are like your 4 top shooters essentially by these stats.
Yeah.
So
So
his percentage is actually quite low. I'm surprised by that. 36.
He shoots like 12 a game.
Yeah.
And he shoots them exactly in the way that I think Mikey would want out of this, because he's like a run around screens guy. He is always moving. He's not just like standing in the corner.
Yeah. Well, so now we get to the crux of it, Nathaniel, is the illusion of a dead eye shooter as good as an actual dead eye shooter? Is a 36% or 37% 3-point shooter who shoots a lot and does what you said, right? Like, does that solve the same problem as not having a guy who shoots 41%?
I do want to just because I noticed it. What the most interesting stat looking at this table is Beasley has 2 less attempts than Hield, but in almost 200 less minutes.
Yeah, he comes in and he fires. Like he's a bench guy, and he's incredible. In there to jack up the 3. Like that's what he does.
That is a great stat. The attempts per minute rate.
Hield is also sharing the floor with Hallie and
right.
Turner and Matherin, and there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team. And Utah, it's basically just like him and Clarkson and Lowry are like, we take all the shots.
The finisher. It's good.
Curry, most interesting. 1 attempt every 3 minutes for Curry. Hield is close to that, and then Beasley close to that. That's a fun stat. I might have to deep dive on attempts per minute on 3-point attempts. All right, so thank you, Michael. So moral story: you're torn because you think you're close. You'd love a fanciful pick, but
yes. Okay, here. Can I let me give you my closing?
Yes, please. Okay. Please close.
So I don't know. I don't know if let's like pie in the sky, right? Like say whatever we trade for SGA. Like that's what we decided to do. Like we give up this year's pick and Chicago pick and and Cole Anthony and a couple other picks or whatever, right? Like whatever it ends up being. I don't know if that makes us like championship, like ready, right? And that's what you want, right? I mean, maybe it does. But so that's why I want one more crack at the lottery to see, because we can still make a trade for somebody good and we can still sign somebody good as a free agent. After we have potentially one more piece, and hopefully one more really good piece, I guess. But it's still always throwing darts at a dartboard. So yes, I am torn, but this is the first time, Christopher, it's been a good kind of torn, and not like not like my usual like. Again,
stop trying to win. Yeah.
Oh,
I love it.
So do you think this is their last tank, and then after this they're going to try to be good?
Yes, the tank is, if it doesn't end by the All-Star break, it's ending at the end of this season, and then we start building, right? Like it's playoffs next year for sure. So I happily make that bet.
Better question, or sorry, another question related, because I think that's pretty clear. If you don't get a lottery pick, do you take the pick or do you trade it?
You mean if we actually like play well enough to get to the play-in and like make the playoffs?
If you don't get like a top 4 pick.
I guess it depends. Like if there's like a guy like in like at the 7th or 8th pick who is like a dead eye shooter, like even if he's like projects as like a bench guy, but he's like a guy that we can like put in there, like play 30 minutes and and be the shooter, then I definitely want a shooter, however we can get them, whether it's trade, the draft, whatever. So even if we don't get one of the top guys, if there is a shooter available, let's grab him.
This is a solid draft class too, even outside of those top names. So I think that having like a 6, 7, 8 isn't the end of the world. And I mean, even this year, like 5 through 12, a lot of them have been really good.
Nat, I do expect next week in your wacky trade rundown that there is an Anthony Simons to Orlando trade in there. If
I'll
there's
see what I
not,
can do.
I'll be disappointed.
I'll see what I can do.
Just be prepared for feedback, Nathaniel.
Yes. If I do a shy one, I don't think you'll like it.
Okay.
Because I think there's no way that they could get him without one of Bankero or Franz being in that deal.
No.
I mean, they want draft picks. I mean, so we could definitely give them draft
I don't
picks.
think they do anymore. They
I
have
don't
like
think they trade.
35 first-round picks over like the next 7 years.
Shay's not on the table. Like, just I think. Period. Like,
So,
I
like,
just don't.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess none of us know for certain. I don't disagree that they definitely have enough. But if they were open to draft picks, right, then like Suggs and this pick and this year's pick and a bunch of other ones, right? Maybe that gets interesting. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
If let's say, okay, here's a hypothetical. Paolo takes a huge leap next season.
Right.
He is,
That's not hypothetical.
No, I'm doing the scenario.
Love it.
Like he's already really good. Like he takes a leap from intriguing, really good rookie of the year to like, oh, this guy might be a top 5 player in the league right now.
Right. He already is, but I understand what you're saying for a second.
Sure. And Franz continues his trajectory.
Right.
Would you pay and they're clearly in a position where they're one big piece away from really being a contender. Would you give up the Gobert package for Shai?
So Shai is more valuable than Gobert to me for sure.
Yes, I think he is.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. Because that was a wild overpay, but like it's pretty much a wild overpay for
I'd like to give up like one step down from the Gobert package, like one fewer draft pick, or like that was like maximally stupid. I'd like to just be kind of like, okay, we're overpaying because this is the going rate for superstar trades, but because we think he solves all of our problems and could vault us into the championship tier, then we do that. Then I am okay. So I am now at the point where I am okay with one of the stupid, like Gobert -1 or Gobert -1.5 packages.
I love this Mikey. I love this
Go
new
for
Michael.
it, Mikey. Yes.
I love it. I love Go For It, Michael. I'm so excited for the next few seasons of Go For It, Michael. I'm like really.
It took us a long time to get here, Christopher. Like it's a long time.
Long road.
The fans have been there with you, and they're going to be excited. They're going to be excited to continue this journey, Michael.
Dude, yeah. So we'll see. It's genuine optimism and happiness for the first time in a very long time. So it's a good place. It's a good time to be a Magic fan.
Nat, where will the Blazers be at the end of the season?
Oh God, I'm feeling like exactly the opposite of Mikey right now. I'm feeling very pessimistic. I think that they will not make the playoffs this year. Which would be fine. Take a lottery pick. And I think they may not make the playoffs even completely healthy.
Yep.
Oh, like proper just bad.
Yes. And it's not like an indictment of anyone in particular. It's just that it doesn't look like the Dame Simons thing works. It looks like it has the same problems as the Dame CJ thing, but Simons is like not as smart of a player as CJ was. And that makes sense because he's younger. Like he's got an upside, but like this team is just so wonky right now. Like something is like they turn it over like it's going out of style, and it's a lot of like unforced turnovers, like just throwing like a random bad pass or like a sloppy dribble handoff or things that like the stuff when you go play at the gym everybody's doing, but not in an NBA game. People aren't doing that. So I think that, and I don't think there's any thought to potentially breaking up those two.
Not even rumors. There's no.
No, there's absolutely no smoke about Simon.
Really?
Not even any. I think
That's
they're
surprising.
also like they're like 2 games back of like 4th even. Like all they have to do is get hot for 2 weeks and they're in 4th because everyone is so muddled. So I don't think that I don't think there's any desire to sell Simons because I think they're playing 2 timelines. I think they're trying to be as good for Dame as they can, but I don't think they're going to truly go for it. I don't think that there's a move with like my fake trade that I'm going to present next week that would get them Siakam. Like, I don't think that move is being thought of. I think that the move is to keep the team healthy, competitive,
So
running
so
around.
then what is the move, right? Because like they're clearly
Well,
not
the
like
move
a
is they're
top 4
bridging.
team.
The idea is bridging to Simons and Sharp. Like, stay competitive with Dame, hope that maybe you can get some luck or maybe a star falls in your lap somehow. But I think they're playing like, stay good, see what you can do, don't mortgage the future, don't go deep in the tax, like don't really go for it, which is very Portland. It's like try to be the 5th seed. That's like been their MO for 40 years. Is like, we always want to be in the playoffs, but we don't want to spend too much money except for a few minutes in their entire history. And we want to keep selling out games and, keeping our fans happy by not like being abjectly bad. And so I think that's still what they're doing. And I think they've got their eye on like the future Sharp Simons backcourt in like, say, 3 years.
Clearly, like selling Dame would make the fans angry, but like when does that happen? When's the blockbuster
Never.
Dame trade?
Never.
Never? Retire as a Blazer?
Yes. I think it's more likely that he will be like grizzled old man Dame playing 18 minutes off the bench for Simons and Sharp at like age 37.
A Udonis situation?
Right. Than him like being traded to like, I don't know, Miami or something this year or next. I think they missed their window to actually get good value for him. If they were going to do that, they needed to do that this offseason.
I think that's
like,
probably correct.
He's still very good. They have never put people around him that accentuate his strengths. So it's really impossible to know how good he could actually be in the right place. Like, look at CJ on New Orleans. He's a much better player than he ever was for Portland because they surrounded him with a bunch of finishers and a bunch of good screeners and a bunch of defenders, which is exactly what a player like that who's so ball dominant needs. Dame has never been around that. He's had a couple good Nurk is a good screener, but he's not a good finisher. He's not a good offensive player. And then
Nurk is the most frustrating player, I think. Oh, he's so bad to watch right now.
He's very frustrating. However, I think he gets way too much shit from the fan base. Like, the things that are wrong with that team are not his fault.
I mean, sure. Like,
and
he's probably
the only person who can get more than 4 rebounds in a game, pretty much.
That's also
so
true.
Like, that's not his fault.
So
go ahead.
So clearly, what I'm hearing is, you will be moving into Mikey's villa in Tank City.
No, it's the opposite of that.
I've been waiting.
We'll be doing a long-term lease in Mediocrityville.
Nathaniel, it sounds to me like you're building an ADU on your property on Tank Island.
I don't believe that they allow that in that city. It's a very NIMBY city.
You're waiting to hear back to see when they'll be approved, and maybe if you grease the wheels a little bit, you can build it sooner, because it sounds like you might want to. Your mom might want to move in, and so you're
help take care of the kids.
Help take care of the kids. So maybe it's time to start. We're going to be here a little bit longer than we thought, and that's fine.
Oh man, brilliant! Thank you. Better question, since clearly this is a controversial. That's a controversial question.
That's not a better question. Go on.
But I have a better question. Who wins more games next season, Portland or Orlando?
I accept your wager, Nathaniel.
I would not be surprised if the answer was Orlando.
Let's make this a bet, and we can figure out a line.
I think we do need to make that a bet next season. I think we're on opposite trajectories here. And
are we gonna meet in the middle?
Where on the journey are we in each respective one?
Will both teams be over 500 next season?
I think so.
I don't know if Michael's unsure. I don't know which direction Michael's unsure about.
Right. So, Christopher, I'm not unsure about my team.
See, like, I don't think Portland will be below. I mean, I think they might be, but they try the last year tank was such an like aberration of what they've done historically that I would be really surprised if they did it again. I think they would, if they're in play-in range, I think they'll still be competing.
No,
it's hard to know because last year they were in play-in range with like all of their scrubs, and then they started shutting their scrubs down. So maybe they've changed their mindset.
We'll see. We'll see. I think that's probably a good place. I am excited. Mikey is getting very animated about other teams being worse than the Magic all of a sudden, and I'm gonna be very interested to see how this continues.
I don't think I've
next
seen
season.
you talking from a position of strength about your basketball fandom before. One thing to note.
There you go.
And isn't it nice to be on the end of the thing where everybody says, "Man, how good would this team be if they had just drafted that guy?" Because they say a lot of people are saying that about Franz. Like, there's a lot of takes. Like, imagine the Warriors with Franz.
So,
they passed on him.
My Orlando Magic hot take, although becoming less hot, and you guys can obviously critique, right? Is that the best player drafted in the 2021 NBA draft is Franz Wagner on your Orlando Magic.
Let's hold on. Let me.
That is hot.
Hold on. But before, because I got to remember who got drafted because I'm not that smart.
That's
Cade
a
Cunningham.
good draft. You think he's
Cade
better
Cunningham.
than Evan Mobley?
Evan Mobley, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year. That's no longer an issue.
Mobley and Barnes.
I would not. I will give you top 5.
You'll give me top 3, Nathaniel.
Top 3?
Depends on if Cade comes back healthy. I feel like on any given night, Cade, Mobley, Barnes, and Wagner are about the same quality, and like it's unclear who's actually the best of those 4.
No. So
there's a lot of talent in there.
No,
like there's Giddey in there.
Yeah, Giddey.
Oh, Giddey.
Sengun is very good. Like
suitable for the climate in which Franz plays. This is a somewhat hot take, but perhaps over the year, you guys will come to see it as more representative of the Seattle weather and climate. We will
I don't even know what this means.
You gotta flesh that one out a little bit for me.
So I was trying to work with temperature and like Orlando being hot.
Hey.
So it's a hot take because it's related to Orlando. And then, Seattle is cooler generally than Orlando. And so it'll be less of a hot take.
A Seattle winter take.
Yes.
Also, Herb Jones in here, underrated, very underrated.
Unky Herb is a great player.
Yeah, for a 35th pick, like that's by far and away the best value in the draft. To your point, though, he is 3rd in win share, Mr. Wagner, behind Mobley and Barnes, for their career so far. But so point taken. I think it's a fair statement that he's above his grade. So I do like that you got him. I believe Nat on draft day was very excited about this pick as well.
In the interest of disclosure and honesty, I was not excited about the pick.
I think I tried to talk you off the ledge.
You might have, yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Very possible.
I do remember that you were disappointed.
Yeah.
Who did you want? You
I
want
don't remember.
Kuminga, right?
Oh yeah, I did want Kuminga.
You were all in on Kuminga, who is like going back to the G League now.
I
No, Kuminga's good.
Guys, it's Andrew Wiggins all over again, but different. Can't wait.
When they actually pick the guy who probably is closer to that, actually. So good job. Yeah. Good job, GM Michael. I do think that's a good place to end, to remind everybody that while Mike is on the upswing, it could have been different if he was in charge. So
none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, fine. So thank you, Michael. The fans always appreciate when you come on the show and give us your takes. I'm excited for the future for you and for your future good teamness that will
appreciate
come.
Your kind and genuine words, Christopher.
Have a good night, John.